Shalom, Ubriziel, Shemi Shab, Shema Kakadash, Double on the Apostles, Elders, Great Millstone, and Rewell, and Shalom, to the brothers doing the work, sharing truth. Uh, you got this article in the Mail. It says what? Male fans, no, male? MAGA fans clash with cops in protests across the country as Trump claims the Georgia runoffs are illegal and invalid because of an unconstitutional voting process. So basically, if you ain't really been keeping track with the whole election, you've pretty much had Trump from when the results come in, saying there was fraud, and I think he had recently a few videos come out and some evidence come out related to that. So people are kind of in an uproar, but by and large, it's not been upheld. Now, whatever comes out of that, it's we'll still have to wait and see, because when it comes to the inauguration of Biden, that's when we'll really see like how it shakes out. But as far as for the impact you're seeing now, is it's really people kind of being, well, mainly the Trump supporters just being more roused up and rebellious, kind of being out there protesting, which is kind of spiked up. And anyway, you've had just over the course of the year racial tensions building. You had shootings. You had I think they said statistics came up that like in Chicago, the murder rates at the amount of murders have almost 1,000 murders this year. So it's basically like it's kind of been off the charts. This year you can see the violence has been, well, say this year since through 2020, like violence went up. Hell, the kind of mentality broken down, and people are more just in that much more rebellious mindset. So boy, seeing where that leads, it's a wait and see. So it says hundreds of anti-lockdown protesters were seen in Salem, Oregon on Thursday afternoon, many of whom were waving Trump flags as they urged officials to reopen businesses. Meanwhile, in Pasadena, Florida, Trump fans staged a car parade to show their support for the president. Many are still refusing to concede that Trump lost the election and will be out of the White House in less than 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Republicans are clinging to hope that they can maintain control of the Senate in 2 Georgia runoff races. But Trump has now claimed that the runoff races are illegal. He made the claim in a series of tweets posted about election fraud on Friday night. Democrats currently hold an edge in early voting in the runoffs, leaving Republicans looking for a big election day boost next Tuesday, January 5th. So yeah, it says what? Democrats, well, okay, and the rest is specifics. But it's these political circumstances are leaking over into that civil unrest, because people are just like, essentially seeing DJ Trump going out, and they're just like, they're looking to hold on to, well, they feel a certain way about it. So yeah, they're looking to they feel a certain way about it. So that's why they're going to go out in the streets and get aggressive. It says MAGA fans have taken to the streets in Oregon and California to show the support for DJ Trump and to protest lockdown orders put in place amid the C-19 pandemic. Hundreds of anti-lockdown protesters were seen in Salem, Oregon on Thursday afternoon, many of whom were waving Trump flags as they urged officials to reopen businesses. Police declared the event unlawful and dispersed protesters with impact munitions and flashbang grenades after the group refused to leave downtown. So that's and those skirmishes, that's what you've had throughout a lot of 2020, the vast majority of 2020, you had kind of people protesting against the lockdown, protesting about, you know, against a mask, against a lot of shit. And it's you know, it's been ramping up. And now, you know, when Trump's gonna have to say ta-ta, then you know it's gonna be another crisis point where you know, you can see they had the shit in where was it? Was it Nashville? I think it was Nashville. The guy with a truck, man, where he basically went and blew up his truck, suicide bombed himself in his truck. So you know, you could have attacks happen. There's various things you could have, forms of escalation you can have, and then it'll justify a heavier hand, you know, to restrain people as well afterwards. Because boy, that's kind of it's the way it's looking to go. Because I feel like you're gonna have similar things in Europe as well. Because Europe's have people protesting, and especially because people are upset because you know Christmas was cancelled, man. People getting all kind of upset seeing you know, China having the time of their life at New Year's as well, and then they're just like, yo, why are we stuck indoors? Actually hilarious. So it says others launched their own smoke grenades. When it says several protesters became angered by that move and were pictured facing off with officers clad in riot gear. Others launched their own smoke grenades and several people were arrested according to local police. Meanwhile, other protesters assembled outside the gated mansion of Governor Kate Brown, claiming that the Democrats' lockdown orders were a violation to their liberties. To the south in Pasadena, Florida, MAGA fans showed their support for President Trump as he continued to cry foul about the results of the presidential election. And you got the footages, well, images. Almost dashing a straight smoke grenade. But that's, hey. Funny as hell. Well, so police tried to keep far right and far left protesters from clashing during a far right march. So, you know, men on the other side were looking to dust them out. Well, they're looking to dust each other out. So this, you know, this has become completely normal, man, completely uniform and expected. But then what? It's you know, this is a thing where it's people don't realize it's gonna escalate and get worse. You're gonna have more. You're gonna have this leading to further what's it called? Further escalation. And that's what people aren't really thinking. They're thinking, okay, look, you know, just once. People are still thinking there's gonna be some kind of normal to go back to. Don't realize we've entered into a different stage, and that's why everything you're seeing. It's you used to. The thing is you would have protests every once in a while. You would have all kinds of like things would happen, but then it's like a few years back there might be gaps between where it's kind of like there won't be too much happening, and then you know things will kick off again. But hey, since you know 2020 kicked in, it's since then it's been a different wave, man, and it's just been back to back. It ain't really stopped. Ain't really stopped. We read this, 1 Thessalonians 5:1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Yeah, so these, you know, you got people thinking like, oh, you know, now Maxine's out, it's life's gonna go back to normal. They don't realize Maxine ain't the end of the line, and it ain't setting the stage for going back to normal. It's setting the stage for that new normal, which has been ushered in with, you know, without people even knowing it. Everyone goes out, walks around without their mask. People ain't going to see their friends. People are scared to leave their house. You ain't taking the kids to see your grandma and all that. You know, life has changed, and Esau's push that in. And it's further change is going to come, further controls are going to come in, further destruction is going to be visited upon upon this place, man. Because why? It's the prophecies, man. We're in that time where it's flying off, man. Yahweh Shai is getting ready to make his return, man. Make his presence known, and make the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai known in the world as well, man. It says what when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Yeah, so that peace and safety, that's what everyone's thinking. Everyone's like, oh, you know what, Maxine's here now. It's all gonna be good. You know, everything's gonna go back to normal. Kids are gonna be able to go to school. NHS is gonna be fine. It's funny as well because like even like the kind of hinge point in the UK anyway, they kind of say it's based on how much the NHS can handle, but then it's kind of leading into a thing where it's essentially there's like it's already gone beyond its breaking point. There was an article I read earlier today where they said like people with cancer treatments are getting turned away because there's not enough bed spare. So I was like, bro, the shit's done. Like it's already hit beyond that point, but they're just kind of like it's essentially being bluffed. But then it's also a matter of like what's actually, you know, what the actual ins and outs of what's going down. People aren't really being made aware. People are being fed a narrative and then just kind of having to run with it, man. Because even for me, it's like there's a hospital around the corner. I mean, I ain't even really gone in there to check, man. But it's essentially Esau's. You know, he's pushing out whichever narrative, and it's being eaten, and that's the main thing that I'm looking at. Is like what is being sold to these people, and then what's going to be done based off what's being sold. So yeah, it says then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that they should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light and the children of day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let's watch and be sober. Yeah, so you know, brothers are watching and being sober. That's why we're observing. You're seeing these things going down. You're seeing what Esau's pushing out there. You can measure the times and be like, oh, you can tell what's going on in, and that's it's plain as hell, plain as day. You can see Esau's bringing in more control, and you're gonna see it's you know, they said in the article earlier, you know, that these lockdowns are against people's rights. You're gonna see more people's rights are gonna be stripped away, man, and that mark's gonna be pushed out, man, and on a mandatory level. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Shalom. Yeah, Bashem and Shah, Bashem Rakakadash Bakata. Shalom.